Hi guys, let's continue with part 2 of the 36th UPSC Prelims 2020 test series from Vision IAS. Now, the first question is question number 26. In the context of ecology, which of the following correctly describes functional redundancy? Number A, it is the unique vertical stratification of species interaction having higher than usual energy transfer efficiency. Number B, it is a unique situation where one species may substitute for another without any significant impact on the ecosystem. Number C, it is a set of unique functions that are specific to its role in a particular food web. Number D, it describes that every organism enjoys a unique relational position in an ecosystem. So the answer is B. It is a unique situation where one species may substitute for another without any significant impact on the ecosystem. Functional redundancy. The concept of functional redundancy implies that species loss is compensated by other species contributing similarly to functioning. Functional redundancy can be revealed by the relationship between biodiversity and ecosystem functioning. That is, we have an example as biomass growth. The functioning of an ecosystem remains unaffected if redundant species are removed, but decreases if the removed species have unique roles. This phenomenon can apply to both plant and animal taxa. Ecological niche. It describes the relational position of a species or population in an ecosystem. Niche includes how a population responds to the abundance of its resources and enemies. Example, by growing when resources are abundant and predators, parasites, and pathogens are scarce, and how it affects those same factors. Example, by reducing the abundance of resources through consumption and distributing to the population growth of enemies by falling prey to them. The abiotic or physical environment is also part of the niche because it influences how populations affect and are affected by resources and enemies. The description of a niche may include descriptions of the organism's life history, habitat, and place in the food chain. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 27. The Constitution provides for the creation of different types of municipalities depending upon whether an area is a smaller urban area, a larger urban area, or an area in transition from a rural area to an urban area. Under the Constitution, who specifies the type of area for this purpose? Number A, Office of the Registrar General and Census Commissioner of India. Number B, Delimitation Commission. Number C, Governor of the State. Number D, President of India. So the correct answer is C, that is Governor of the State. The Constitution of India provides for the constitution of the following three types of municipalities in every state. Number 1, the Nagar Panchayat, by whatever name called, for a transitional area, that is an area in transition from an urban area to a from a rural area to an urban area. So a Nagar Panchayat for a transitional area, that is an area in transition from a rural area to an urban area. Number 2, a municipal council for a smaller urban area. Number 3, a municipal corporation for a larger urban area. A transitional area, a smaller urban area or a larger urban area means such area as the governor may specify by public notification for this purpose with regard to the following factors. Number 1, population of the area. Number 2, density of population. Number 3, revenue generated for local administration. Number 4, percentage of employment in non-agricultural activities. And number 5, economic importance or such other factors as the governor may deem fit. So the correct answer is C, that is governor of the state. Question number 28. In the context of modern Indian history, MacDonald Commission is related to number A, police reforms, number B, famine relief strategy, number C, currency situation in India, number D, labor reforms. So the correct answer is B. The correct answer is B, that is famine relief strategy. Following the famine of 1899 to 1900, the government of Lord Curzon appointed MacDonald Commission. It submitted its report in 1901 in which it summarized accepted principles of relief, suggesting variations wherever necessary. The Commission emphasized the benefits of a policy of moral strategy, early distribution of advances for purchase of seed and cattle, and the sinking of temporary wells. It also advocated the appointment of a famine commissioner in a province when relief operations were expected to be extensive. It also emphasized the enlistment of non-official assistance on a larger scale and preference in particular circumstances of village works to large public works which had hitherto been the backbone of relief schemes. The Commission also stressed the deniability of better transport facilities, the opening of agricultural banks, improvement of irrigation facilities, and vigorous measures to foster improved methods of agriculture. Most of the recommendations of the Commission were accepted, and before Curzon left India, he had taken various measures to prevent and combat famine. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Question number 29. Consider the following statements with respect to the chairman of the Legislative Council. Number 1. He or she is nominated as the governor on the recommendations of the state cabinet. Number 2. He or she is removed by a resolution passed by a simple majority of the council. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is D. The correct answer is D. That is neither 1 nor 2. Article 182 of the Indian Constitution provides that the Legislative Council of every state having such council shall, as soon as may be, choose 2 members of the council to be respectively chairman and deputy chairman thereof, and so often as the office of chairman or deputy chairman becomes vacant, the council shall choose another member to be chairman or deputy chairman as the case may be. The chairman is thus elected by the council itself from amongst its members. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. Article 183 of the Indian Constitution deals with vacation and resignation of and removal from the offices of chairman and deputy chairman. The chairman vacates his office in any of the following three cases. Number 1, if he or she ceases to be a member of the council. Number 2, if he or she resigns by writing to the deputy chairman. And number 3, if he or she is removed by a resolution passed by a majority of all the then members of the council. Such a resolution can be moved only after giving 14 days advance notice. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 30. Consider the following piers: dams in use and rivers. Number 1, Daimar Bhasha Dam, Indus. Number 2, Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. So Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, Blue Nile. Number 3, Nojadu Dam, Mekong. Which of the pairs given above are correctly matched? So the correct answer is D. The correct answer is D. That is 1, 2 and 3. All of them are correct. Daimar Bhasha Dam is a concrete filled gravity dam in the preliminary stages of construction on the river Indus. So it's correct. Between Kohistan district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Daimar district in Gilgit-Baltistan in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Recently, Pakistan has signed a contract with a joint venture of a Chinese state-run firm and a commercial arm of Pakistan's military for the construction of the Daimar Bhasha Dam. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam (GERD), formerly known as the Millennium Dam, is under construction in the Benishangul Gumuz region of Ethiopia on the Blue Nile River. So this one is also correct, which is located about 40 km east of Sudan. The contentious issue around the GERD, Africa's biggest hydropower project, concerns control of the flow of water in the world's longest river among the riparian states. Next is Nojadu Dam, is an embankment dam on the Mekong River in Yunnan province. So the third pair is also correct. Southwest China. So Yunnan province, southwest China. Recently, a new study highlighting the impact of China's dams on the Mekong River has raised fresh questions on whether dams being built on other rivers that originate in China, such as the Brahmaputra, may similarly impact countries downstream. The Mekong flows from China to Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam. China operationalized its first hydropower project at Jiangmu, while 3 other dams at Dagu, Jeju, and Jiacha are being developed. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 31. With reference to the medieval Indian history, consider the following statements about Rajia Sultan. Number 1, she was the first woman to sit on the throne of Delhi. Number 2, she was appointed by Iltutmish as his successor. Number 3, She abolished the Jahalgani system. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is B. The correct answer is B, that is 1 and 2. Rajia Sultan, the daughter of Iltutmish, was the ruler of the slave dynasty. She was the first woman to sit on the throne of Delhi. So statement 1 and 2 are correct. Rajia succeeded her father Shams ud-Din Iltutmish to the Sultanate of Delhi in 1236. Iltutmish became the first sultan to appoint a woman as his successor when he designated his daughter Rajia as his heir apparent. A shrewd politician, Rajia managed to keep the nobles in check while enlisting the supports of the army and the populace. Her greatest accomplishments on the political front was to manipulate rebel factions into opposing each other. At, the, at that point, Rajia seemed destined to become one of the most powerful rulers of the Delhi Sultanate. As Sultan, Rajia preferred a man's tunic and headdress, and contrary to custom, she would later show her face when she rode an elephant into battle at the head of her army. So, as Sultan, Rajia preferred a man's tunic and headdress, and contrary to custom, she would later show her face when she rode an elephant into battle at the head of her army. As the head of her army. But the nobles revolted against her and made her brother Mohin Uddin Bahram Shah sit on the throne. So the nobles made her brother Mohinuddin Bahram Shah sit on the throne. Now let's come to Jahalgani System. Sham-ud-Din Iltutmish was the third ruler of the slave dynasty. His reign was from 1211 to 1236. After the constant attack of Mughals, he formed a group of nobles, 40 Turkish nobles, which were known as Jahalgani. Due to the growing influence of Turkan-e-Jahalgani or Chalisa, a group of 40 powerful Turkish nobles in the administration, Balban abolished Turkan-e-Jahalgani when he came in power in 1266 AD. Hence, statement 3 is not correct. So, statement 1 and 2 are correct. Now, let's come to question number 32. Consider the following peers: journal and publisher. The first one is Swadesha Mitran, G.S. Iyer. Number 2, Amrita Bazar Patrika, G.K. Gokhale. Number 3, Sudharak, Sisir Kumar Ghosh and Motilal Ghosh. Which of the pairs given above is or are correctly matched? So the correct answer is A. That is one only. So Swadesha Mitran is G.S. Iyer. The publisher is G.S. Iyer. Powerful newspapers emerged during early years of freedom struggle under distinguished and fearless journalists. These are the Hindu and Swadeshamitran under the editorship of G. Subramania Iyer, Kesari and Maharatha under B.G. Tilak, Bengali under Surendranath Banerjee, Amrita Bazar Patrika under Sisir Kumar Ghosh and Motilal Ghosh. Sudharak under G.K. Gokhale. So pair 2 and 3 are incorrect. Indian Mirror under N.N. Sen. Voice of India under Dadabhai Nauroji. Hindustani and Advocate under G.P. Verma. Tribune and Akbar-e-Am in Punjab. Hindu Prakash, Dhyan Prakash, Kal and Gujarati in Bombay. Som Prakash, Banganivasi, so Banganivasi and Sadharani in Bengal. In fact, there hardly existed a major political leader in India who did not possess a newspaper or was not writing for one in some capacity or the other. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 33. Which of the following statements is or are correct regarding buttress roots developed by many plant species in the tropical forest? Number 1, they prevent the tree from falling over by providing support. Number 2, they specialize in extracting plant nutrients from deep layers of nutrient deficient soils. Number 3, they enable plants to breathe air in habitats that have waterlogged soil. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is A. That is 1 only. Most rainforest soil is very poor with all the nutrients available largely remaining at surface level. Because of this rainforest, trees have very shallow roots called as buttress roots. Statement 2 is not correct. They spread horizontally near the surface so they are able to cover a wider area for collecting nutrients from the upper layers of soil. Statement 1 is correct. Some very tall trees have developed ways of obtaining much needed additional support by forming buttressed roots, which grow out from the base of the trunk sometimes as high as 15 feet above the ground. These extended roots also increase the area over which nutrients can be absorbed from the soil. Statement 3 is not correct. Pneumatophores are specialized aerial roots that enable plants to breathe air in habitats that have waterlogged soil. The roots may grow down from the stem or up from typical roots. Now let's come to question number 34. In the context of modern Indian history, the Zimmermann Plan is associated with number A, the withdrawal of the British Army to the Muslim majority provinces of northwest India. Number B, the Anglo-Dutch Compromise on territorial conquest in Asia. Number C, the negotiation of a deal with top leaders of Congress by offering them high positions in government. Number D, bringing an all India insurrection with German support. So the correct answer is D. The correct answer is D. That is bringing an all India insurrection with German support. By the 1870s, Calcutta's student community was honeycombed with secret societies, but these were not very active. The first revolutionary group was organized in 1902 in Midnapore under Ganedranath Basu and in Calcutta. The Anushilan Samiti, founded by Pramotha Mittar and including Jatindranath Banerjee, Barindra Kumar Ghosh and others. But these activities were limited to giving physical and moral training to the members and remained insignificant till 1907 to 08. The Western Anushilan Samiti found a good leader in Jatindranath Mukherjee or Bhaga Jatin and emerged as the Jugantar or Jugantar or Yugantar. Okay, so it's also called Jugantar or Yugantar. Jatin revitalized links between the central organization in Calcutta and other places in Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa. During the First World War, the Jugantar Party arranged to import German arms and ammunition through sympathizers and revolutionaries abroad. Jatin asked Rasbihari Bose to take charge of Upper India, aiming to bring about an all India insurrection in what has come to be called the German plot or the Zimmermann plan. The Jugantar Party raised funds through a series of dacoities which came to be known as taxicab dacoities and boat dacoities, so as to work out the Indo-German conspiracy. It was planned with a guerrilla force would be organized. It was planned that a guerrilla force would be organized to start an uprising in the country, with a seizure of Fort William and a mutiny by armed forces. Unfortunately, all the revolutionaries, the plot was leaked out by a traitor. So it was very unfortunate, but the plot was leaked out by a traitor. The police came to know that Bhaga Jatin was in Balasore waiting for the delivery of German arms. Jatin and his associates were located by the police. There was a gunfight, as a result of which the revolutionaries were either killed or arrested. The German plot thus failed. Jatin Mukherjee was shot and died a hero's death in Balasore in the Orissa coast in September 1915. So the correct answer is D. That is bringing an all India insurrection with German support. Next is question number 35. Coral reefs exhibit a strong resilience against external disturbances. Which of the following factors contribute to their resilience? Number 1, healthy herbivore populations. Number 2, strong connectivity to healthy source reefs. Number 3, evenness in the size distribution of corals. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is D. That is, all the statements 1, 2 and 3 are all correct. Coral reef resilience refers to a reef ecosystem's ability to recover from a disturbance and recover towards a coral-rich state and or to maintain morphological diversity as opposed to shifting to an algal dominated state or a single coral morphology. Resilience is more than resisting. Okay, so resilience is more than resisting or being able to recover from a major disturbance, such as surviving bleaching or resisting bleaching. For a community to be resilient, it must also be able to continue to thrive, reproduce, and compete for space and resources. For example, some coral communities that have bleached may not have experienced mortality but may be weakened and less able to thrive, grow, and reproduce in the competitive reef environment. Multiple indicators contribute to resilient coral communities, some of them well known and others to be discovered. Some indicators of a healthy and resilient coral reef include: the first one is strong coral recruitment, indicates strong connectivity to healthy source reefs. Although Although the reef may be self-seeding and good conditions for larval settlement and growth, that is available substrate, good water quality. Abundance and density of recently settled corals that are less than 2 years old depict resilient corals. Number two is healthy herbivore populations, indicates a high potential for coral reefs to recover from major stress events as herbivores graze down algae and thus prepare the substrate for larval settlement, which supports coral reef recovery following disturbance. Number 3. Coral size class distribution. Evenness of corals within a range of size classes that includes recruits and mature colonies promotes the resilience of corals. Next point, low human impacts, indicates a lower level of local stressors that weaken the immune system of coral reefs. Low human impacts may mean corals will be able to resist and recover from major stress events more effectively. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 36. In the context of food production, consider the following statements with respect to total polar compounds. TPCs. Statement 1. They are formed on repeated frying of vegetable oils. Number 2. FSSAI has fixed a limit of TPC at not more than 5% in vegetable oils used for cooking. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is A. That is one only. So TPCs are formed on repeated frying of vegetable oils. During frying, several properties of oil are altered. Total polar compounds (TPC) are formed on repeated frying. The toxicity of these compounds is associated with several diseases such as hypertension, atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis, Alzheimer's disease, liver diseases. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Therefore, it is essential to monitor the quality of vegetable oils during frying in order to safeguard consumer health. FSSAI has fixed a limit for total polar compounds at 25%, beyond which the vegetable oil shall not be used. From 1st July 2018 onwards, all food business operators (FBOs) are required to monitor the quality of oil during frying by complying with the said regulations. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. The Food Safety and Standards Authority of India (FSSAI) has launched RUCO, Repurpose Used Cooking Oil, an initiative that will enable collection and conversion of used cooking oil to biodiesel. FSSAI is implementing an triple E strategy, that is education, enforcement, and ecosystem, to divert used cooking oil from the food value chain and curb current illegal practices. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 37. Consider the following statements. It is located in Vindhyan Hills. Number 2. It mostly consists of dry deciduous forest. Number 3. River Can passes through it. Which of the following tiger reserves does the above statements refer to? 37. It would be A. That is Panna. It's not Betla, it's not Bandavgar, it's not Bench. So the answer is Panna. Panna Tiger Reserve, located in Vindhyan Hills in northern Madhya Pradesh. It consists of fragile though dynamic dry deciduous forest. It is characterized by extensive plateaus and gorges formed by the river Can, and it inks the eastern and western populations of wild animals through the ESW running, northeast, southwest running Vindhyan Hill ranges. Hence, the correct option is A. Betla National Park, it is located on the Chota Nagpur Plateau. It is located on the Chota Nagpur Plateau in the Palamu district of Jharkhand in India, one of India's earliest tiger reserves, 1974. Betla features luxuriant tropical forest cover. The North Coel River and its tributaries flow through the northern portion of the park, producing grasslands. The park features waterfalls and hot springs. There are also two historical forts known as Palamu forts, one of them situated near the Betla at 400 feet, erected in the 16th century as the seat of Jero kings. Now let's come to the next one, that is Bandavka National Park. It is located in the Umaria district of Madhya Pradesh and the northern edges of the Satpura mountain ranges. Bandavgarh, with an area of 105 kilometers square, was declared a national park in 1968 and then became tiger reserve in 1993. Numerous streams pass through this national park and merge into Son River, a tributary of Ganga. Bandavgarh National Park consists of mixed vegetation ranging from tall grasslands to thick sal forest. This biodiversity park is known for its large population of Royal Bengal tigers, especially in the central Tala zone. The density of the tiger population at Bandavgarh is one of the highest known in India, at about 8 tiger per square kilometer. Now let's come to the next one, that is Pench Tiger Reserve, the first one to straddle across two states, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, named after the pristine river Pench, which flows through the park, Pench National Park. The park also has its mention in the famous story of 1894, The Jungle Book, penned down by the renowned English author Rudyard Kipling. The portion of the reserve that is in Madhya Pradesh is nestled in the southern slopes of the Satpura range. So the portion of the reserve that is in Madhya Pradesh is nestled in the southern slopes of the Satpura range of central India. Panch Tiger Reserve comprises the Indira Priyadarshini Panch National Park, the Panch Mowgli Sanctuary, and a buffer. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 38. Consider the following statements with reference to an oath of the President of India. Number 1, it is administered by the Vice President of India. Number 2, any person acting as President or discharging functions of the President need not take an oath or affirmation. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is D. That is neither 1 nor 2. So both of them are incorrect. Oath or affirmation by the President. Before entering office, the President has to make and subscribe to an oath or affirmation. In his oath, the President swears to faithfully execute the office, to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the law, and to devote himself to the service and well-being of India. The oath office to the President is administered by the Chief Justice of India, and in his absence, the senior most judge of the Supreme Court available. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. Any other person acting as President or discharging the function of the President also undertakes the similar oath or affirmation. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. So, both of them are not correct. Now, let's come to the next question, that is question number 39. Consider the following statements. If there were no phenomenon of surface tension, number 1, small insects would not be able to walk on the water. Number 2, cleaning of dishes and clothes using detergent would become hard. Number 3, the liquid droplets would not be in a spherical shape. Number 4, one would not be able to drink water using a straw. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is A. The correct answer is A. That is 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Surface tension is a property of liquids that arises from unbalanced molecular cohesive forces at or near a surface. At an air-water interface, the surface tension results from the greater attraction of water molecules to each other due to cohesion than to the molecules in the air due to adhesion. The net effect is an inward force at its surface that causes water to behave as if its surface were covered with a stretched elastic membrane. Because of the relatively high attraction of water molecules for each other, water has a high surface tension. Due to the surface tension, small objects will float on the surface of a liquid as long as the object cannot break through and separate the top layer of water molecules. When an object is on the surface of the fluid, the surface under tension will behave like an elastic membrane. Examples of surface tension are: water striders are able to walk on top of water due to a combination of several factors. Water striders use the high surface tension of water and long hydrophobic legs to help them stay above water. Don't touch the tent. Common tent materials are somewhat rain-proof in that the surface tension of water will bridge the pores in the finely woven material. But if you touch the tent material with your finger, you break the surface tension and the rain will drip through. Soaps and detergents. These help the cleaning of clothes by lowering the surface tension of the water so that it more readily soaks into pores and soiled areas. Washing with cold water. The major reason for using hot water for washing is that its surface tension is lower and it is a better wetting agent. But if the detergent lowers the surface tension, the heating may be necessary. Okay, so washing with cold water. The major reason for using hot water for washing is that its surface tension is lower and it is a better wetting agent. But if the detergent lowers the surface tension, the heating may be unnecessary. Why bubbles are round. The surface tension of water provides the necessary wall tension for the formation of bubbles with water. The tendency to minimize that wall tension pulls the bubbles into spherical shapes. Next is surface tension and droplets. Surface tension is responsible for the shape of liquid droplets. Although easily deformed, droplets of water tend to be pulled into a spherical shape by the cohesive forces of the surface layer. Mechanism of drinking liquid using straw. With the straw just sitting in the glass, the pressure on the surface of the tea is the same all over, including on the little bit of surface inside the straw. When you suck the air out of the straw, you decrease the pressure inside the straw, allowing the high pressure on the rest of the surface to push the tea up to the straw and into your mouth. Because it is really the atmosphere that is doing the pushing. The atmospheric pressure limits how high water will go up a straw. Hence, drinking using straw is related to work of the atmospheric pressure and not the surface tension. Hence, option A is the correct answer. So, 4 is incorrect and 1, 2, 3, three of them are correct. So A is the correct answer. Now let's come to question number 40. Which of the following is the correct reason for the recent healing of the ozone hole over Arctic region? Number A, occurrence of biggest solar flares in the last 3 years. Number 2, split of polar vortex clouds. Okay, so split of polar vortex clouds. Then number C, we have reduced pollution levels due to COVID-19 lockdowns around the world. Number D, successful ban on aerosol usage under Montreal Protocol. So the correct answer is B. The correct answer is B, that is split of polar vortex clouds. The ozone hole is not technically a hole where no ozone is present, but is actually a region of exceptionally depleted ozone in the stratosphere. Ozone hole is caused by chemicals called CFCs, short for chlorofluorocarbons. CFCs escape into the atmosphere from refrigeration and propellant devices and processes. In the lower atmosphere, they are so stable that they persist for years and even decades. This long lifetime allows some of the CFCs to eventually reach the stratosphere. By the action of ultraviolet light, a series of chemical reactions takes place that destroy ozone layer. Formation of polar vortex, that is endless circling whirlpool of stratospheric wind, further assist on the depletion of ozone. European Union's Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service CAMS recently announced that a hole in the Arctic ozone layer, believed to be the biggest reported, has closed. As per the report, it was because of a phenomenon called the polar vortex split, that is, weakening of polar vortex, and not because of reduced pollution levels due to COVID-19 lockdowns around the world. So the correct answer is B, that is split of polar vortex clouds. Now let's come to the next question, that is 41. Lost at Home. A report recently seen in news is published by number A, the UN Children's Fund, UNICEF. Number B, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Number C, Save the Children. Number D, the Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. So the correct answer is A, that is UNICEF, the UN Children's Fund. More than 5 million people were internally displaced in India due to natural disasters, conflict, and violence in 2019, constituting the highest number of new internal displacement in the world during the period, followed by the Philippines, Bangladesh, and China, according to a UN report. The Lost at Home report published by the UNICEF said that almost 33 million new displacements were recorded in 2019. Around 25 million were due to natural disasters and 8.5 million as a consequence of conflict and violence. The report said that natural disasters resulted in more new displacements than conflict and violence. So the report said that natural disasters resulted in more new displacements than conflict and violence. Almost 10 million new displacements in 2019 were recorded in East Asia and the Pacific, and almost the same number in South Asia. Now let's come to the next question. Now let's come to question number 42. A person to be appointed as district judge should have which of the following qualifications? Number 1, he should not already be in the service of the central or the state government. Number 2, he should be recommended by the High Court for appointment. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is C. The correct answer is C, that is both 1 and 2 are correct. The appointment, posting and promotion of district judges in the state are made by the governor of the state in consultation with the High Court. Article 233 provides that a person to be appointed as district judge should have the following qualifications. Number 1, he should not already be in the service of the central or the state government. Number 2, he should have been an advocate or a pleader for 7 years. And number 3, he should be recommended by the High Court for appointment. Hence, both the statements are correct. Now let's come to the next question, question number 43. In the context of modern Indian history, the Treaty of Salbai was signed between number A, the British and the French, number B, the British and the Marathas, number C, the French and the Nizam of Hyderabad, number D, the Portuguese and the Dutch. So the correct answer is B. So the correct answer is B, that is the British and the Marathas. The First Anglo-Maratha War. In the First Anglo-Maratha War, neither side won the victory and the war came to a standstill. But it did give the British 20 years of peace with the Marathas, the strongest Indian power of the day. The British utilized this period to consolidate their rule over the Bengal Presidency, while the Maratha chiefs frittered. So the Maratha chiefs frittered away their energy in bitter mutual squabbles. Mahadaji Scindia made an agreement with the English in October 1781. In October 1781, by which he agreed to negotiate with Pune Council for a treaty with the English. The negotiations started in early 1782 and the Treaty of Salbai was signed between the English and the Marathas in May 17, 1782. Its terms were as follows. Number 1, the English retained Salsette. The English abandoned the cause of Raghunath Rao, who was given a pension by the Peshwa. Mahadaji Scindia got back all his territory west of the river Yamuna. Both the parties returned each other's territory conquered during the course of the war in South India. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Now let's come to question number 44. Consider the following statements with reference to Commodities Transaction Tax, that is CTT. It is a tax levied on transactions done on the domestic commodity derivatives exchanges. Number 2, it aims at discouraging excessive speculation and bringing parity between the securities market and the commodities market. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? The correct answer is C. That is, both 1 and 2 are correct. Commodities Transaction Tax (CTT) is a tax similar to Securities Transaction Tax, that is STT, levied in India on transactions done on the domestic commodity derivatives exchanges. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Commodities Transaction Tax was introduced in the Finance Act 2013, where only non-agricultural commodity futures such as gold, silver, aluminium, crude oil, among others, were taxed at a rate of 0.01%. Like all financial transaction taxes, CTT aims at discouraging excessive speculation, which is detrimental to the market, and to bring parity between the securities market and commodities market such that there is no tax or regulatory arbitrage. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Impact of CTT on trading volumes. With the introduction of CTT in commodity trading, trading volumes on the MCX and other commodity exchanges in India have seen a dip as high as 50% to 60%. It has also driven away smaller segments of the volume contributors away from the segments since scalping, jobbing, etc. have become an unviable and expensive proposition. Commodity traders have been demanding the removal of CTT for a long time, and recently the government announced that it is ready to examine the demand to cut CTT. Now let's come to the next question, question number 45. The institutions of Speaker and Deputy Speaker in India originated under the provisions of number A. Government of India Act 1935, number B. Indian Councils Act 1909, number C. Government of India Act 1858, number D. Government of India Act 1919. So the correct answer is D. That is Government of India Act 1919. The institutions of Speaker and Deputy Speaker originated in India in 1921 under the provisions of the Government of India Act of 1919. Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. So it is called as Montagu-Chelmsford reform. Hence, option D is the correct answer. At that time, the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker were called the President and Deputy President respectively, and the same nomenclature continued till 1947. Before 1921, the Governor-General of India used to preside over the meetings of the Central Legislative Council. In 1921, Frederick White and Sachidanand Sinha were appointed as the Governor-General of India as the first Speaker and the first Deputy Speaker, respectively, of the Central Legislative Assembly. In 1925, Vithalbhai J. Patel became the first Indian and the first elected Speaker of the Central Legislative Assembly. The Government of India Act of 1935 changed the nomenclatures of President and Deputy President of the Central Legislative Assembly to the Speaker and Deputy Speaker respectively. However, the old nomenclature continued till 1947 as the federal part of the 1935 Act was not implemented. G.V. Mavalankar and Ananthasayanam Iyengar had the distinction of being the first Speaker and the first Deputy Speaker respectively of the Lok Sabha. G.V. Mavalankar also held the post of Speaker in the Constituent Assembly, that is the Legislative, as well as the Provisional Parliament. He held the post of Speaker of Lok Sabha continuously for 1 decade, that is from 1946 to 1956. Now let's come to question number 46. So consider the following statements. Number 1. Mahatma Gandhi and Rabindranath Tagore both agreed on the boycott of British institutions in the political struggle against the British. Number 2. Gandhiji advocated for charkha for rural self-employment and self-reliance. Tagore disagreed on its usage as it violated an individual's creative freedom. Which of these statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is B. Okay. The correct answer is B. That is 2 only. While Gandhiji advocated for charkha for rural self-employment and self-reliance, Tagore disagreed on its usage as it violated an individual's creative freedom. Okay, so Tagore and Gandhi, born in the 1860s in two regions separated by the bulk of the country, were men who came to represent the quintessence of Indian thoughts and life in the modern age, fondly respectful of each other, addressing each other as Mahatma and Gurudev. They acknowledged the other person's greatness and his love for the country and its people. However, Gandhi and Tagore differed deeply on many important issues. The main bone of contention between the two leaders was Gandhi's use of non cooperation in the political struggle against the British and the associated boycott of British institutions. Tagore acknowledged the moral right of a Mahatma to lead the country, but he was deeply troubled by the negative impulse in non cooperation. Having witnessed the deeply divisive Swadeshi movement of 1905, Tagore's skepticism was roused. He was particularly troubled by the call for students to boycott schools without a meaningful alternative in place. In non cooperation, Tagore saw a negative impulse that does not rejuvenate the withered polity and economy and contains the seeds of intolerance and destruction. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. According to Gandhi, spinning charkha was the noblest of all activities because it is the call of love. The spinning wheel would ensure rural self employment, self reliance, and curb the mind as time is spent on necessary physical labor. On the other hand, Tagore questioned the capacity of the charkha to absorb the multifarious talents of the Indian community. He perceived charkha as the coercive nature of Gandhi's spinning dictum. He argued that it was an outrage upon human nature to force it through a mill and reduce it to some standardized commodity of uniform size and shape and purpose. Thus, he argued for the primacy of the individual's creative freedom. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Now let's come to question number 47. With reference to marine heat waves, consider the following statements. Number 1. These are extended periods of extremely hot weather in a sea or ocean. Number 2. They often co-occur with extreme El Ninos. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is C. That is, both 1 and 2 are correct. We know that heat waves occur in the atmosphere. We are all familiar with these extended periods of excessively hot weather. However, heat waves can also occur in the ocean, and these are known as marine heat waves or MHWs. These marine heat waves, when ocean temperatures are extremely warm for an extended period of time, can have significant impacts on marine ecosystems and industries. Marine heat waves can occur in summer or winter. They are defined based on differences with expected temperatures for the location and time of year. They are the ocean's erratic response to increased warm waters. Hence, statement 1 is correct. So, what are its causes? Number 1 is marine heat waves can be caused by a whole range of factors, and not all factors are important for each event. Number 2, the most common drivers of marine heat waves include ocean currents, which can build up areas of warm water, and air-sea heat flux, or warming through the ocean surface from the atmosphere. Number 3, winds can enhance or suppress the warming in a marine heat wave. Number 4, it often co-occurs with extreme events like El Ninos. Hence, statement 2 is correct. So, what are its impacts? Number 1, it affects ecosystem structure by supporting certain species and suppressing others. Number 2, it can cause economic losses through impacts on fisheries and aquaculture. Number 3, it can cause coral bleaching. Satellite observations reveal that marine heat waves have very likely doubled in frequency between 1982 and 2016, and that they have also become longer lasting, more intense, and extensive. So the correct answer is both 1 and 2. Now let's come to question number 48. Which of the following states have tropical rainforest? Number 1, Maharashtra. Number 2, Chhattisgarh. Number 3, Tamil Nadu. Number 4, Nagaland. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is D. That is 1, 3, and 4. So they are Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Nagaland. Tropical rainforest areas are present in the heavy rainfall areas, that is above 200 centimeter, due to the occurrence of both northwest and northeast monsoon season. Along the western slopes of Western Ghats, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Kerala, the island groups of Lakshadweep, Andaman and Nicobar, some northeastern states, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram, Manipur, Nagaland, and some southern districts of Arunachal Pradesh. Also, along with the coastal areas of Bengal and Orissa, the tropical rainforest occur mainly due to southwest monsoon rainfall. Whereas along the Tamil Nadu coast, the tropical rainforest occur mainly due to northeast monsoon rainfall. Hence, only options 1, 3, and 4 are correct. Chhattisgarh has tropical deciduous forest as it receives rainfall between 200 centimeter and 70 centimeter and remains dry in the winter months. Now let's come to question number 49. Which of the following could be the reasons for increasing gold prices in India? Number 1, depreciation of the rupee. Number 2, contractionary monetary policy measures by RBI. Number 3, heightened economic policy uncertainty. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is C. The correct answer is C, that is 1 and 3 only. That is depreciation of the rupee and heightened economic policy uncertainty. Though the physical demand for gold is near zero amid the coronavirus related nationwide lockdown, the price of gold has seen a sharp surge. So it has seen a sharp surge in recent months. The reasons for a strong rally in the gold prices are: number 1, the disruption in the economic activities, geopolitical uncertainties, and the global slump in economic growth has led investors away from risky assets, thus increasing the safe haven appeal for gold. Number 2, massive stimulus measures by RBI in order to support growth, including an interest rate cut along with monetary stimulus measures have pumped heavy liquidity in the markets and economy, and expansion in the paper currency tends to push up gold prices, and expansionary policy by RBI could lead to a rise in gold prices. Hence, option 2 is not correct. Now let's come to number 3. Since gold is mostly imported commodity into India, any change in the exchange rate affects gold prices. The depreciation of the rupee vis-a-vis the US dollar of around 7% since last September pushed the gold prices in India even higher. Hence statement 1 is correct. Next point is gold is an efficient tool to hedge against inflation and economic uncertainties. According to RBI, gold prices also move in tandem with heightened economic policy uncertainty, thereby indicating the safe haven feature of the asset. Hence, option 3 is correct. So, option 1 and 3 are correct. Now, let's come to question number 50. Which of the following statements with reference to Keshup Chandra Sen is or are correct? Number 1, he advocated the inclusion of teachings from all religions in Brahmo Samaj meetings. Number 2, along with Debendranath Tagore, he founded the Brahmo Samaj of India. Number 3, he held strong views against the caste system and supported inter-caste marriages. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is B. That is 1 and 3 only. So he advocated the inclusion of teachings from the religions in Brahmo Samaj meetings. Number 3, he held strong views against the caste system and supported inter-caste marriages. Raja Ram Mohan Roy founded the Brahmo Samaj in August 1828. It was later named. He founded Brahmo Sabha and it was later named Brahmo Samaj. Debendranath Tagore gave a new life to Brahmo Samaj and a definite form and shape to the theist movement when he joined the Samaj in 1842. The Brahmo Samaj experienced another phase of energy when Keshup Chandra Sen (1838 to 1884) was made the Acharya by Debendranath Tagore soon after the former joined the Samaj in 1858. Keshup, also called Keshup, was instrumental in popularizing the movement, and branches of the Samaj were opened outside Bengal in the United Provinces, Punjab, Bombay, Madras, and other towns. Unfortunately, Debendranath did not like some of Sen's ideas, which he found too radical, such as cosmopolitanization of the Samaj meetings by the inclusion of teachings from all religions and his strong views against the caste system, even open support to inter-caste marriages. Kesav Chandra Sen was dismissed from the office of Acharya in 1865. Kesav and his followers founded the Brahmo Samaj of India in 1866, while Debendranath Tagore's Samaj came to be known as the Adi Brahmo Samaj. So that's all guys. See you in my next video. Bye.